Welcome in to Palmetto Sports Daily. I'm Carmine Jamay in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm actually out of the Palmetto State, but thanks for joining us here on this Football Friday. We have high school football, college football, maybe even some pro football, but we're joined today, of course, by our usual crew. We have Rick Henry in Columbia, we have Kevin Bilodeau in Charleston, and Teagan Brown in Myrtle Beach. And guys, big time Football Friday. I'm here for Football Saturday because Chapel Hill and Chapel Bill Belichick and North Carolina are welcoming Clemson for what could be a Chapel thrill. And hopefully we find out that Dabo isn't over the hill, but we have too much rhyming here. We'll get into college football in just a moment. But Kevin, for high school football, you have the Live 5 Game of the Week.
Yeah, Carmine, and it should be a good one. It's our number 2 team in our Live 5 Friday Night Lights poll. That's Berkeley. They're heading to our number 3 team, Stratford. And a lot of similarities between these two teams. Both come in at 4-1 on the season. Both suffered their only loss to our top-ranked team, Somerville. And both led by really explosive offenses that have had a lot of experience as well. Stratford has Jason Davis at quarterback, a fourth-year starter for the Knights who's going on to play at Liberty. Henry Rivers is the starter for Berkeley. He's in his third season as the starter at Berkeley. So a lot of similarities between these two. It has been a long time region rivalry. They both open up region play tonight against each other, and the winner of this game going to go a long way towards winning that region championship once again this season. And both coaches understand what a big night this is for both of them.
I think up front, we've got a lot better up front as far as making our adjustments and calls up front. Our quarterback, senior 4-year starter, he is able to check us into a lot of good plays. Defensively, our defensive front has gotten a lot better this year. We were flying to the ball. We're trying to get 11 guys to the ball.
I think on defense, we're older. We're a little more mature. We physically a little bit better on that end of the ball. Offensively, our offensive line has improved a lot. We've run for nearly 1,400 yards this year, and we're so balanced on offense that it's hard to stop us.
So it seems a little early in the season to say there's so much on the line tonight. But like I said, whoever wins this game is really going to set themselves up well to win that region championship. And we know how important that is because that leads to 2 home playoff games once the postseason gets going. So big night tonight over at Stratford. Rick, what do you got going on?
Hey, Kevin, things are really going to be fun here in the Midlands from now until the playoffs begin because one of the strongest regions in the state is Region 4-5A. It includes Dutch Fork, the 3-time defending state champs. The Silver Foxes are number 2 in my Midlands top 10 and number 3 in the statewide poll. Irmo is number 1 in my Midlands top 10 and also number 1 in the state rankings. Now, my game of the week has another member of Region 4, the White Knoll Timberwolves. They're my 8th ranked team with a 4-1 record. They're coached by Nick Pelham, a former Dutch Fork assistant under Tom Knotts. The T-Wolves lost their opening game to Camden. Then the following week, they opened some eyes by upsetting Sumter 28-6. They've won 4 straight by an average score of 38-7. Tonight, White Knoll opens region play at home against River Bluff, and Coach Pelham thinks his squad has been overlooked.
I didn't know anybody was paying attention to us. We haven't heard from anybody. I guess we've been on the road the last couple of weeks, but yeah, we've been playing much better football. Camden outcoached us, out-toughed us, outplayed us, and we learned a lot from that game, and it kind of shook our belief system and what we really believe and what we really think is important. And then after that loss, our best players became our best practice players. I think that's what I'm most proud of, is they understand the importance of meetings, they understand the importance of weight training, they understand the importance of practice, they understand the importance of coming in on Sundays. And when your best players buy in and when your best players are doing that, everybody else follows along. So we're really excited. We're kind of flying under the radar. I don't think anybody really notices us or pays attention to us. We're kind of out here. We practice football on this field. I guess that's what it's called out here. And people just leave us alone, and we're just trying to get better.
And White Knoll will be getting a lot of attention the next couple of weeks. Next week, they will host Dutch Fork. The following week, they'll travel to Irmo. And how about this? Irmo is coached by Aaron Brand, who was an assistant under Tom Knotts at Independence High in Charlotte. Teagan, what's the big game your way?
Well, it's all about region play here at the beach, too. Most of the beach schools were off last week, except for Carolina Forest. They were down in Carmine's neck of the woods playing a team down there, Southside Christian. But Carolina Forest getting ready to take on Sockasty. Carolina Forest 4-1 on the year. Their only loss was to Irmo, and it was by double digits. Sockasty, on the other hand, they're 1-4 to start the year. They've really struggled just with their offense, with moving the ball down the field. They have a second-year starter at quarterback, Christian Royals. Carolina Forest, on the other hand, has a really good handful of players. They have Jaron Fox, one of the top running backs in the state, who has managed to get into the end zone many, many times this season so far. It'll probably be a really tough one for Sockasty tonight. There's no way to sugarcoat it, but I had the chance to catch up with both coaches yesterday about the matchup.
Well, we haven't put it together on the offense side of the ball yet this year. Defense has played well in spots. We've got to get it together on the offense side of the ball, prevent the big play on the defense side of the ball, and we know we're going up against a well-coached Carolina Forest team tomorrow night.
Our team has came a long way. We started the year with a lot of young players as far as varsity experience, and they've done a really good job. They've improved each week, and hopefully we'll have a good night.
Now, of course, region games are the ones that matter towards going to playoffs. And if you look at Carolina Forest from last season, they were 1-4 in non-region games, and then they went undefeated in beach play. So even though Sockasty has struggled at the beginning of the season, if they can get it together now, there's a good chance that they can still make it to the postseason. We're going to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily, and just because we're on the road at Chapel Hill for North Carolina hosting Clemson in college football, the Upstate does have a great high school matchup, which we would have been at if this wasn't our priority at this exact time, and it's Christ Church Episcopal hosting St. Joe's Catholic in that classic Greenville Christian school rivalry. Christ Church 4-1, St. Joe's 3-2, but unfortunately the Clemson Tigers 1-3 right here in Chapel Hill to face off tomorrow against Bill Belichick. And Dabo Swinney and Bill Belichick going against each other for the first time. Huge matchup. We talked about the magnitude of this matchup, but really, as Dabo said in his Tuesday press conference, Clemson needs a win a lot more than North Carolina because Clemson's been expected to make the college football playoff. We've been through it. Beep, bop. They were ranked top 5 in the country to start the season, slowly dropping out of the top 25. Now just hoping really to make a bowl game. Interesting that I'm seeing some reports now coming out for North Carolina that they could be making a quarterback change from Gio Lopez, who could be heading to the bench, in favor of Max Johnson, who you might remember if you watched the first primetime North Carolina game hosting TCU right here at Keenan Memorial Stadium. Max Johnson came in, did a great job, although it was garbage time, so we'll see how that maybe changes Clemson's game plan. But the biggest storyline, of course, is the matchup of these two legendary head coaches, and Bill Belichick getting much more vocal since going away from the New England Patriots and the 6 Super Bowl rings he earned there, and now North Carolina, where he's got a new lease on life at 74 years old, opening up right here in this soundbite, speaking about Clemson and Dabo Swinney coming right here to Chapel Hill.
My relationship with Dabo is great. Saturday afternoon, we're on opposite sides of the field, so, it is what it is. And, I'll do everything I can to help my team, and I'm sure he'll do everything he can to help his. But in the end, I would just say, I think Dabo's done a great job with that program. I have a ton of respect for not only what he's accomplished on the field and his record and all that, but the way he's done it, the players that he's turned out. You can tell that they've come from a program that's very well run, and turns out, man, we talked about some things, outside of the meetings and, off camera and things like that, but he's helpful, in a couple of things that I've asked him about just, in general, and I appreciate his, his openness and willingness to, try to give me some advice that I've asked for.
And Bill Belichick also saying that any of the Clemson players that he's had in his time coaching in the pros have been great representation, spoken very, very highly, of course, of Clemson. And this place right behind me will undoubtedly be rocking. I mean, we talked about on this exact show, it was a Monday night game when North Carolina kicked off the season hosting TCU. And in the luxury box, you had Lawrence Taylor, Michael Jordan, Mia Hamm, Roy Williams, some of the royalty of North Carolina. But, Rick, your thoughts on just the craziness of this matchup. Dabo called it the most 2025 thing ever at ACC Media Days for these two legendary coaches to be going at it.
Yeah, well, back at, in the preseason, we all thought that Clemson would be riding high and maybe North Carolina would show some improvement under Bill Belichick. But to me, I'm not looking so much at the coaching matchup. I'm just looking at everything, how big this game has become for the team, the overall programs, the fans. Because if Clemson loses this one, it's like, I don't know, just play the music, that old sad song. And for North Carolina, a win for them, or even over a declining Clemson, will show that, okay, Bill Belichick's here, maybe we're on the rise. If North Carolina loses, it's like, hey, we're not any better off. We might be even worse off with Bill Belichick. So, yeah, I think that's what all the hoopla and the uproar will be Saturday in Chapel Hill. Kevin?
Clemson's a 13.5-point favorite going into this game. Can someone explain to me what we have seen out of the Tigers to expect them to win by 2 touchdowns going on the road against anybody in the ACC at this point? Because I can't figure that out for the life of me. And also, Carmine, you mentioned the Tar Heels making a look a change at quarterback. Can anyone remember what happened the last time Bill Belichick made a big change at quarterback? Because I think he might have brought in the greatest quarterback of all time and gone on to win 6 Super Bowls. So take the Tar Heels on the points going into this one, Teagan.
Yeah, this is, I think Carmine called it the Anxiety Bowl earlier, or was it Nick? That was producer Nick that called this the Anxiety Bowl. So both teams in this, I don't know who's going to win here. I don't know if either of them deserve to win, quite honestly, unless Clemson has, again, miraculously stepped up during this bye week and figured out a lot of the problems that they've had. I just don't see them being a 13.5-point favorite, like you said, Kevin. But it should be a fun matchup for the fans, even if Bill Belichick hasn't done what people expected him to in Chapel Hill. If you're a fan of any team and you're playing Bill Belichick, that's a great game as a fan to go to. So, yeah, Carmine, I'll ask you, do you think 13.5 points as the favorite is a valid number for them here?
I know even though producer Nick called it the Anxiety Bowl, for me, getting to film the coaches cast with Dabo right after the game, I'm even more filled with anxiety, going on the road to all these games and seeing how crushing these defeats have been. I have anxiety as well. I don't think 2-touchdown favorite really, it's so hard to tell because Clemson falling behind by double digits in 3 games in a row. The only one they came back to win was against Troy, and, against Teagan, against your Syracuse Orange, they were 17.5-point favorites and lost by almost 2 touchdowns. So who's to know, but I think Kevin's bet is probably a safe one because I could see this being a close game until Clemson's offense can get started something in the first half and not falling behind and scratching and clawing from behind to try and get a win. But I know Coastal is also looking for a big win as well, and they need one too.
Yeah, I just lost you guys in my ear, so hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, listen, for Coastal Carolina, because let's switch over to them, their offense also needs to come out early in order to win this game. They're playing ODU this weekend on the road, and Coastal's 2-2 on the year. They got a win in the Sun Belt when they went to South Alabama. They beat them there, a really surprising win, I think, for everybody watching that game. But Coastal Carolina has beat ODU the last 2 years in a row, but this is a strong ODU team. They're at the top of the Sun Belt for total offense. Their defense leads the league in fumbles forced and fumbles recovered. And Coastal really, really needs to focus in this game. They need to start early. They need to finish getting the lead early. Here's head coach Tim Beck on ODU.
They're executing offensively at a really high level. It all begins with their quarterback. He's arguably probably right now the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year. The key, if you watch them, they jump out early. They get out early, and then they can kind of control the game. Their defense it's a good defense. You have to be patient. You have to take what they give you. I talked to our guys about that. You have to be patient playing this team.
And here's the thing I've seen in ODU over the past 2 years covering Coastal Carolina. They have come out early because 2 years ago on the road when I was in Norfolk, Coastal Carolina, you thought for the last 8 minutes of that game they were going to lose. And somehow miraculously they managed to come back. They did that last year too. ODU was ahead in the fourth quarter. Coastal Carolina manages to finish things out. It's the question of if they can do that this year, if it's going to happen that way again. We'll have to see. Kickoff between ODU and CCU is tomorrow at 6. We're going to take a quick time out here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back on the other side.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. I just want to mention that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and every Friday on my Football Friday show, I wear pink to support the people dealing with that disease and also to support the fundraising efforts for cancer research. Okay, going to talk some college basketball now. This is one of my favorite times of the year because in addition to football, we've got basketball going on. And yesterday had a chance to go out and watch the USC men's basketball team practice. We got some video of that. Now, head coach Lamont Paris, he welcomes 12 new players to the team to go along with 3 returners. Carolina is looking to rebound from a tough season last year. They finished 12-20, just 2-16 in the SEC. Senior guard Mal Studi says things are going well, blending in the newcomers with the returning veterans.
It's been really, really fun getting to know these new guys and new faces. Like you said, a lot of new faces have come onto the program this year, but I feel like we haven't missed a beat. I was saying earlier, just like from where we were June 1st to when we came in this summer to where we are now, we've made so much growth. And we know as a group that we have even more steps to make, but I'm super, super excited to play this season and show you guys the type of program that we are and what we're capable of.
And Mal Studi also grateful to be back on the court. Last year, he missed a good part of the season dealing with a blood clot in his leg, but he has a greater appreciation now, he says, for the game and being back with the fellas.
Yeah, and also, speaking of moving pieces around, we have Wofford and Furman trying to rebuild, and Wofford just lost a huge piece in their 2-time SoCon Player of the Year, Rachel Rose. Also, fun fact, first woman in Wofford women's basketball history to record a triple-double a couple seasons ago. So she went with those back-to-back Conference Player of the Year awards. And she, unfortunately, though, sat out almost all of last year with an injury, only played 6 games. And guess where she's moving on to? Clemson. You might be up on that if you're a local women's college hoops fan, and you really should be because there's a lot of great teams in the area, especially Clemson, second year under head coach Sean Poppy. Interesting story between those two. Head coach Sean Poppy, during his time in the SoCon, won 2 conference championships in 2 years at the same school, Chattanooga, where the Gamecocks men's basketball coach Lamont Paris also won a SoCon championship. One of those SoCon championships for Sean Poppy was against Rachel Rose and Wofford. And a couple seasons later, he's recruited her to his Clemson team. Here's current Wofford head coach Jim Garrity about how once a Terrier, always a Terrier, and he's still proud of Rachel Rose. Moving on now to the Tigers.
Once a Terrier, always a Terrier. So she's super bright and got a great degree. I think her GPA was like 3.9, something crazy like that. So she's going to be successful at whatever path she chooses. And she's going to bring that same energy and competitive spirits and confidence to Clemson. And I know she's going to make them better and do really well.
And one more note to tie everything back in is the first game for Clemson is against Rachel Rose's first team, even before Wofford, USC Upstate. That'll be in Tigertown on November 3rd. We'll be right back to wrap up the show right after this.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. It's a Friday tradition around here that we put in our locks of the week for college football. I'm going to start us out, and then we'll go around the circle and see what everybody thinks. But I'm going to say Navy takes down Air Force to stay undefeated. They advance to 5-0. Not a whole ton of undefeated teams left. Give me Navy. Kevin, who are you going with?
I'm going to stay in the SEC. Oklahoma is going to move to 5-0 despite not having their starting quarterback and getting a win over Kent State. It will also keep me undefeated in locks of the week. It's true. Look it up. Rick.
I'm going to go with Virginia over Louisville. They're a 6.5-point underdog. Virginia's for real under Tony Elliott after that big overtime win over Florida State. Carmine.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to take a deep breath before I say this one. I'm going to take Clemson to beat North Carolina here in Chapel Hill. They just finished painting the blue and white diamonds all over the field. Everything looks spick and span. It's great. It's ready to host another sellout, the earliest that North Carolina's ever sold out their tickets in Chapel Hill history. And I hope that after this pick, my locks of the week are not history, because Clemson hopefully gets a win and gets back on the winning track closer to 500. They'll still be one game shy. But hey, speaking of college football, we have a new partnership to announce, because the Palmetto Sports and Entertainment Network is now the official partner of Furman Athletics. And we're kicking it off strong tomorrow at 2 p.m., where we will be showing our first Paladins football game in our history, in their school's history ever, on Palmetto Sports and Entertainment. That'll be at 2 o'clock. They're hosting East Tennessee, and the Furman quarterback Trey Hedden is playing great. He has the Paladins at 3-1, so that should be very exciting. And also, if you want to watch anything else that you need an ESPN Plus subscription for, well, you can get that for free on Palmetto Sports and Entertainment Network. So we're trying to get you good coverage, along with saving you a few bucks, and hopefully Clemson can put its money where its mouth is tomorrow as well here in Chapel Hill. But guys, good luck to your locks of the week. No shame. I think I'm going out on a limb by selecting Clemson, which, like you said, Rick, hard to believe to start the season. But we'll see you right back here on Monday. Have a great weekend of college, high school, and pro football.